Good morning, week 3. So as I record this, today is day 22 of my 60-day, what can happen to a 63-year-old woman's body if she trains at the gym and cleans her diet up in 60 days exercise. So for those that I haven't met before, Cynthia Morton, 63 years of age, always been a reasonably fit person, not incredibly fit, but run, walk, and had a curiosity. I've been working with Barton and Casey as trainers for the last few years. We've been running retreats in Bali and are about to bring them to the Gold Coast. Learned so much from them on nutrition and well-being, and just noticing my strength, lifting my granddaughter as I'm getting older, and was curious to see what could happen in 60 days. Anyway, Barton said, let's see if we can get the bingo wings, which is what was my concern. My arms weren't strong, and I felt like my legs were fairly strong and fit. Anyway, what a shock I've been in. For those that have been following week 1 and week 2, Monday mornings have been a real struggle. And whilst my focus wasn't to lose weight, like any woman, if I can shave off a few kilos, I was going to be happy. It certainly wasn't to gain weight. And I'm 179 centimeters tall. I started week 1 at the weight of 72.1, which is mid-range for someone my height. And I'm a fairly big boned person. By the end of week 1, so I started at 72.1. By the end of week 1, I was 73.5. I'd gone up, and Barton was telling me about muscle and fat. And, I kind of thought, okay, let it go to the keeper. There was a lot of stuff going on. My body was in shock. The biggest part I was in shock about was the fact that my legs were so weak. My quads were so weak. And I thought, being somebody who could walk and run, they'd be stronger, but they weren't. That range of movement. Anyway, that's a real eye-opener. Week 2, remembering I started at 72.1. Week 1, I'm 73.5. Week 2 on a Monday morning, I'm 73.3, thinking, fuck, 2 weeks in, and I'm just, I was feeling also, I was eating way too much protein and drinking too much water for me. I'm a person, 1.5 litres to 2 litres a day. Well, 1.5 I could do comfortably. 2 litres a day with all that protein, I was just blowing up. So I took it back to 1.5. Okay, day 17, Barton, as you know, was in Thailand. He came back. I'd been training with Ran at the gym, and he'd been, basically following Barton's program whilst Barton was away. Weren't quite sure what had been happening with my body, other than the fact that, I had a scale measurement. So I was a bit disenchanted by the time Barton came back, and he got those pinchy things where he measured my fat and he weighed me on day 1. So at day 17, I was blown away. When he measured me, he said, Cynthia, day 17, 2.7 kilos of fat on your body has gone. 2.3 kilos of muscle has been gained. He said, you were just so under-muscled. And that was a real, I've never measured this. At 63 years of age, I've never measured my muscle and fat. So I was really quite gobsmacked. And I was really happy for my body on the inside that I've got 2.3 more muscle. He said to me, your body fat's gone from 28% body fat to 24%. I mean, that, for longevity around my heart, and I was really, really tickled that what was going on the inside, and it made me calm down a little bit more around the fact that this was a process, and Barton kept saying we trust the process. So that's been really interesting. Another thing, today is day 22. I started at 72.1. Today I'm 70.9. So now the weight is starting to drop. I'm gaining muscle, but I'm losing fat. And often as a woman, if I'd intermittent fast or do anything just to try and shed a few kilos because I was uncomfortable, I was obviously just losing water weight. So I'm really happy that my muscles are growing. That's really exciting. A couple of things that I'm also finding that I made notes of during the week. I humorously call myself the wee queen. My bladder is fairly weak. I always do what I call an exit wee and an entry wee. If I'm going out anywhere, I do a wee before I leave. And usually if I arrive at Indooroopilly Shopping Town or a restaurant or everything, I do a wee when I get there. So I do an exit and entry wee. You know, there's a multitude of factors that factor into that. Being a sexual abuse survivor, often anything uncomfortable below the belly button in that whole region, to have some control and feel comfortable is a component of it. But also too, I've carried huge babies. My boys are men now. They're 39 and 37, 6'8" and 6'5". They were a lot on my internal organs, so my bladder is not the greatest. So being the wee queen that I am, what I've noticed is my entry and exit wees aren't as necessary. Like I noticed the other day, I went to a shopping centre, didn't need to find the toilet the whole time. Normally it's the first thing I need to find and the last thing I need to find. And also I found, I came home from that shopping centre, got the hose out and watered the garden. I didn't need to rush upstairs and do a wee. That being said, at night time, it's still quite active, but I think, you know, I could go without a cup of tea before bed, or, you know, and I have a few vitamins at night before bed, so wash that down with water, so that wouldn't help. So that's interesting. And whether that's muscle control, that's a real relief, you know, being a slave to your bladder, as any woman, you know, maybe 45 and over who's had some big kids understands. Another thing I've noticed, excuse me, just let me have a cuppa, just a little sip, is mind clarity. I work with clients Monday to Friday. I'm sort of starting at 7 a.m. and I can go through until 8 p.m. I like, you know, I have back-to-back clients some days, so it's a big day, and I find clarity and retention a part of my craft. It's very important. I have noticed an increase in clarity, which is really quite interesting. And I'm enjoying that. I really enjoy being able to just pull something out of my mind's archives without much effort. I've also noticed that I'm calmer. Little things that would irritate me, someone, you know, stealing my park, or, you know, or just things that would normally irritate me. It's not that they don't irritate me, but I can regulate it a lot more. I feel like my cortisol levels are lower, which is really nice. I'm sleeping deeper. I'm sleeping like concrete, except when I have to get up and do a wee. That always happens. The karma component for me often happens when I go off sugar. Being an addict, I've got to be incredibly careful with sugar. And after Easter and Christmases and birthday parties and stuff, I normally just do a cleanse, because sugar can creep up on me. And I notice when I'm having too much sugar, I'm irritable, restless and discontent. And anyone in a 12-step program understands that when we activate our addiction, all of the old behavioral traits, you know, that teenage brain that's entitled and impatient and wants instant gratification and wants everybody to follow their script, that gets activated. So the karma regulation I put down to coming off of sugar as well, and that's always a good thing for me to do. Also, another interesting thing, I had to have a little talk to Barton, because, you know, he's very good at motivating people. And everybody's got different keywords. And I notice when I work with clients, and you may find this too, that they have an irritability, like chalk on a blackboard to some words. They just don't like the words. You know, some people don't like the word moist. There are words that we do and don't like. And so words are a very powerful tool. And one of the most important components I work on is self-talk. I'm a wordsmith. I love words. I study philosophy. Philosophers are brilliant with words. I love poetry. You look at Rilke, you look at any of the beautiful poets, or any amazing writers, the Hemingways, Brené Brown, you know, contemporary, whatever. They choose the word. And, you know, that line in that movie, you know, that never leaves you, they become iconic because they just hit. They hit. And poets are precise at choosing the right word to create the right word picture, the right visual. And great, you know, musicians, you put on your favorite song, your favorite song on Spotify list, and it transports you. So words are very powerful. They either open the heart or close the heart. You either connect or protect. You know, somebody, you know, calls you an insulting word or whatever else, you put your armor on, or, you know, somebody says something really beautiful and kind, and it can bring tears of relief to your eyes that they actually see you and they see value in you. So one of the things I've never enjoyed about is some of the language used at gyms, especially towards women. Now, some women love it. And again, you do you. This is me. I'm a 63-year-old boomer. There are words I don't like. When I'm working in the gym, I don't want to be called a beast or a machine. Now, I know some women, and again, I think because I've worked with many elite athletes, quite a few of my female clients are Olympians in many different modalities. For many of them, I admire them immensely as women, their focus, but for some, it's obsessive compulsive. They don't know who they are without their sport. They don't have a lot of emotional literacy, and internally they can become quite emotionally bankrupt. But I think one of the women that I work with is a runner, a sprinter, and she's been an amazing Olympian. And her body, I kind of really used to look at and think, yeah, that's great, because I saw it as leaner and flexible, not so much bulky. But they use those words, and for me, it's like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to be that. I don't want to look like a beast of a woman. I don't want to look like a machine. I just don't want to do it. And I don't even like the word strong. Now, I don't care. I am a pain in the ass. I know that. But those words demotivate me. And they're words used a lot in the gym. And I noticed strong was being used a lot. Now, women say, I want to be strong. I personally don't like that word because of the word pictures it brings up, because of sometimes strength is a spiritual bypass so that people don't have to feel vulnerable. And it's misused. And often when people go through heartbreak, they thrash themselves at a gym because they want to get fucking strong. And being physically strong is a healthy, good thing. But some people use it as an avoidance mechanism. Not all, some. And they get drunk at the gym on getting strong. Now, being physically strong won't insulate your heart from getting hurt. And one of the most beautiful things about giving and receiving love, intimacy requires vulnerability and surrender, which is the opposite. Now, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you connected. So often people use strength for protection. And protection, if you overdo it, can cost you connection. You get too armored up. And so strong is not a word I want to become. And so I said to Barton, I need you to really know that these words won't help me, because it's literally like fingernails on a blackboard. I have to just wince and pretend, and it uses up a lot of fuel when I'm trying to, get to that last 30 seconds in planking or whatever, and somebody goes strong, I go, fuck off. It's not what I'm doing this for. It's not how my brain works. That won't motivate me. So I said to Barton, the words I like are lean, flexible, feminine, firm, tenacious, resilient. They're words that motivate me. Flexible, feminine, and firm. That gets me going. That's what I'm looking for. And again, you choose your favorite song because you like the lyrics. I need to find a song my body can get a rhythm to. And so he was really sweet about that, and he put them up on the board, and that was great. It was also interesting, I was sitting outside of Barton's gym at 4:40 on Tuesday morning waiting to get measured, and I was just scrolling through my emails, and one of my clients that had been in Bali with me, I'd put up a couple of posts, and sometimes all of the posts I put up as word vitamins are always things that I need to revise, and I'll have sometimes 15 clients go, oh my God, did you put that up because of our session this week? And it's kind of like, well, no, not everything's about you. That was about me. All of the word vitamins I've written have been for me revising my stuff. And I'd written stuff up about, cynicism and haters and people talking about you, because you get it, you hear it, and it's not ever pleasant. And she said to me, she sent me a text, and she was obviously up at Sparrow's Fart too. Fuck off o'clock, 3 a.m. I had to get up. But it's only once a week, and I'm happy to do that. And she said, Cynthia, are you okay? Is there a theme? I've just noticed you've put a few things up about people talking about you. And I said to her, I text back and said, look, other people talking unkindly about me, I've been tolerating that since I got sober. People form these opinions and decide they're true and call me crazy, or, because I have to set a boundary, whatever. I can't be responsible for how people misinterpret what I do. But I said to her, the biggest cynic I'm battling with is in my own head, my own self-talk, and that had really been quite brutal. Anyway, that's my week 3 wrap up. Off to dinner tonight, so I'll be, I've been scouring menus. We went to that Eat, Feast, Treat night thing last weekend with the kids and my granddaughter, and I found what I needed to eat, found some nice steak and some nice veggies. So tonight at the restaurant I'll be scouring what I need to eat there that'll keep me high in protein and healthily on track for week 4 ahead. But Barton said something really lovely to me as I left on day 17, and it really, really helped me. He's a great motivator, and I just wanted to share it with you as I finish up. He said to me, Cynthia, it's in 60 days you're going to be very happy. You're doing really, really well. And he said, don't forget, the view from the top of the mountain is worth it. So on that note, I bought myself this really cool bodysuit, which a supermodel was wearing on, my newsfeed. But I thought, I just really like that. It's elegant and cool. And of course, 2 for 1, 2 different colors. So yes, I thought that is for day 60. I'm going to be wearing that on day 60 because if I can choose something colorful and fun to wear, it helps me want to get up and dress up for the day. So yeah, that motivated me. Once I'm at the top of the mountain, I'll have my new bodysuit on as a commemoration. I used fashion to help me imprint and remember. It's like wearing postcards, remember times in my life. So yeah. Okay, hope you had a good week. I'll be back here for week 4 wrap up and let you know what I've found. And yeah, thanks for checking in. For all those people that are kind and encouraging, it cancels out those that are not. So I really, really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, have a good week. Mwah. See ya.